Namaste, Suchitrans. A beautiful weekend and yet another episode of TV Suchitra.
This is Faizan along with my co-host Aditi, ready to take you through the exciting events of the past week.
Let us look at the events that made it to the headlines for today's show. Babar Ali, the youngest teacher, addresses the Suchitrans. Pranav Ravikaran gives a tour of his cardamom plantation.
Class 3 students conduct a special assembly. AFS students get certificate for their participation. It is not just peer pressure that leads to drug abuse. However, that alone is not an issue that teens and adolescents fall prey to. Some starve themselves to maintain a thin body, depriving themselves of important nutrition.
That's true. But as the world, teens and adolescents and even some adults are easily influenced, falling to peer pressure and participating in harmful acts like drug abuse.
Here to speak about these important issues is the Hope Foundation. They even conducted a session for the 8th graders on the 4th of April. Indeed, timely exposure was given to the students which can help them to make informed choices in the coming years. Over to Srishti.
Namaste. I am Srishti from Suchitra TV and I am at the MP Hall. Today, the students of grade 8 will be enlightened on Say No to Drugs by our guest speaker, Mr. Prasad from Hope Foundation. Let's have a look at how the session goes and we'll see you later.
Understand what happens when you use these substances. The simple truth is, the effect is primarily on your brain. Brain is your command center which has to function your entire life. It's as simple as that.
Thank you, Srishti. Our grade 8 students have taken an interview of Dr. Anikinedu Prasad, medical officer and therapy in charge at the Hope Trust. Let's hear it from him.
Namaste, sir. A very warm welcome to Suchitra Academy. So today we have a few questions for you regarding drug abuse and addiction. So the first question is, why do you think that people opt for drugs rather than professional help?
Opt for drugs rather than professional help. So, first point number one, why do people use drugs? That will come. There are multiple reasons. For example, with students, I generally use the word peer pressure. Because students who come from 9th class, 10th class and on, what happens generally is they get attracted because your age is the age where you want to be adventurous, you want to have that speeding things, you want to be life on fast lane. So you have a tendency to experiment with lot of things. So here what happens is, then you will see, oh, those adult guys, kids, no, they are playing rock music, they are playing that. I went there. Then they are using some cannabis, or they are having a beer, or they are having a health drink or something they are doing. So to get accepted in that group, there is a tendency for kids to go and use it to make themselves accepted in those groups. This is called peer pressure. And the next peer pressure is, maybe in the environment of the homes they come from, maybe availability of alcohol is common, or partially, maybe there is also some parents using some cannabis or some other drugs. So the environmental effects are coming in there. And the next one will be, people use because they say, I'm feeling bad, I'm feeling low, so let me elevate my mood. In that thinking, they tend to feel better. They use drugs to feel better. Some of them use chemicals to do better. Like they think we are talking about Adderall in the class. So if they think using Adderall will help them to be awake and study more. And there are other kids who come and tell me using cannabis helps them to focus and concentrate. In the process, they don't realize that actually that will be in the long run can induce psychosis. So these are the things. Coming to the second part of your question, can you repeat your second part of the question?
My question is, the second part of my question is that why do they opt for drugs rather than professional help?
Yeah, opting for drugs rather than professional help. The answer is in the question you asked. They opt for drugs because they are addicted.
Yes.
They don't go to help because once help is sought, that means they have to stop using. But they are addicted and they cannot stop using on their own. So, they live in denial of this reality and truth. This leads them to continue to use obsessively, compulsively, seeking and using substances despite of negative consequences. This is what happens. But professional help, by the time they reach the professional help, either they would have deteriorated to that level, there would have been damages to that level where even the family is unable to take it anymore, or they would have been caught by the law, because taking drugs is against the law of the land, or carrying drugs. So, they would be brought to the professionals. So, coming to professionals, the first step will be about managing detoxification and then putting them on a program of recovery, a lifetime program, and that scares them. That's why they want to get away from it. They live in denial.
Yes. Thank you for your delightful answer, sir. Now, coming to my next question, what are rehabilitation centers and how do they help drug addicts?
Rehabilitation centers are that places which provide a secured staying place for people suffering with addictions. So, what do you mean by secured? This is the important part. Secured place means they had been all along staying at home, outside in the society,
Yes.
and they were unable to stop themselves from getting the drugs. Their families were unable to stop them to continue using their drugs or stealing money or doing whatever it is. So, they are taken from there and kept in a secured place. What happens in a secured place? One, a healthy detoxification without relapse can be handled, and a long-term rehabilitation program. Always remember, the answer of rehabilitation is in the word itself. Rehabilitation means a person who is living in a certain environment with a certain level of damages with his personality, mental health, emotional health happening, these people are kept in rehabilitation so that they are again taken into a recovery program and rehabilitated, means reconditioned to live a plan of life with a relapse prevention plan in place. That's all. That is why rehabilitation becomes important for those people who had reached extreme conditions.
Yeah. Thank you, sir, for a really nice answer. It was really insightful and I've definitely learned many new things.
Thank you, sir, for highlighting the causes of these problems that bear a serious threat to a student's life. The second part of this interview will be played in the next bulletin. Fasten your seatbelts as we have Abhishek reporting live from Suchitra Academy. An enlightening interaction with the youngest teacher of the world that our fellow students and teachers are going to have. On to you, Abhishek.
Thank you, Aditi. Namaste, everyone. This is Abhishek Samuel from Suchitra TV reporting live from the MP Hall, where the students of grades 8 to 12 have a session with Mr. Baba Ali, who's popularly known as the world's youngest headmaster. He's a social entrepreneur and an educator. As you can see, the eager and curiosity of the students as well as teachers. We cannot wait for the informative session ahead. Stay tuned.
We should have the motto, we must do something extraordinary in this short human life. We must leave a mark on the soil in this heart. Ultimately, be good and do good. Thank you again for your time and thank you very much for this opportunity. Namaskar.
The session really gave us an insight on the inspiring life of Mr. Ali and the steps he has taken for the betterment of society and the initiative for education for all. Now that the session has ended, we have students here and we'd like to ask them a few questions. What is your takeaway from this session?
Well, my biggest takeaway from this session was the incredible array of knowledge imparted by Mr. Ali. And as I am also an arduous follower of Swami Vivekananda and Sri Paramahamsa Ramakrishna, Mr. Ali's emotions and his drive connected with me on an emotional and deep level.
That's nice. Thank you. What is your inspiration you'd like to take away from Mr. Ali's life?
The inspiration that I'd like to take away from Mr. Ali's life is that it's never too early to start something or never too late to start something. If you have the drive to do anything, if you have the drive to do something, you can do it.
Thank you. That's it from us. Back to the studio.
I must say, Mr. Babar Ali left a huge impact on all of us, inspiring us to strive for excellence and reminding us that age alone shouldn't stop us from aiming the towering peaks of success. Ever wondered what India has always been famous for since the time immemorial? It is something so truly Indian that it defines the very essence of our culture and is often called the greatest gift to the world.
They are omnipresent in the Indian household and are used across the globe for various purposes. A gift of nature that made possible the internationally beloved curry. Spices.
In particular, here to bring us the wonders of cardamom, also known as elaichi, from a cardamom estate, is Pranav Ravikiran studying in XII-A. Hope you enjoy the short video.
Hi everyone, I am Pranav. I am now in a cardamom estate in Idukki district, Kerala. Let me show you how the cardamoms are grown, harvested and dried to get the final product. Shall we start the tour? See, these are all cardamom plants. This is a cardamom plant. Normally, it grows from 10 to 15 feet tall. It is a very sensitive plant as it requires only the correct amount of water and sunlight. It requires 44% of sunlight and 60% of shade. These fresh green cardamoms grow at the bottom of these plants like these. And this is an cardamom flower. In each plant, we get about 3 to 5 kgs of green cardamom per year, and it takes 120 days for an cardamom to grow properly. They use sprinklers to sprinkle the water on the plants. See, this is how the sprinkler works. And this is manual sprinkling. Then harvesting happens. It is done manually and the laborers handpick the ground cardamom and collect it in these containers. All the fresh cardamoms are collected in sacks and transported for drying. The green cardamoms are washed cleanly before putting into the dryer. We are now in a dryer unit which dries the fresh green cardamom. See, these are all the dryer units. It takes 20 hours for the dryer unit to dry the cardamom completely. And the unit's temperature is maintained at 45 degrees Celsius to 80 degrees Celsius. when drying, it is gradually increasing from 45 degrees to 80 degrees Celsius. The washed cardamoms are now put into the dryer unit. Now they are taking the dried cardamoms out of the dryer. 5 to 6 kgs of fresh green cardamom will give only 1 kg of dried cardamom. The dried cardamoms are stored in godowns like these. Let me show you the godowns. These are all dried cardamoms stored in sacks. These are the dried cardamoms. Then the dried cardamoms are sorted based on color and size by sorting machine. Let us have a look at the sorting machine. The best graded cardamom is 8 mm in size. We are now in an auctioning center. The producers of the cardamom and the wholesalers meet here, and then the bidding happens. Then the retailers purchase the cardamom from the wholesalers. Finally, we get the cardamoms from the retail shops.
Thank you, Pranav. That was wonderful. And now I'm left with a craving for a lychee tea. Well, up next is another wonder from our young Suchitrans. This time, a special assembly from the 3rd graders.
This was the first offline special assembly of this academic year by grade 3rd-A, and it was attended by all the parents of 3rd-A, heads, vice principal ma'am and principal ma'am.
The students performed true to their theme of spreading happiness and made every one of the attendees leave with wide smiles on their faces.
Hope you too find joy in presentation of their special assembly.
AFS programs are organized worldwide to facilitate the exchange of culture between students and are an asset to the ever-growing global village our Earth is. They help in the spread of ideas and knowledge, helping people better understand the beauty and the diversity that culture holds.
The spread of culture ensures better understanding between people despite differences. It is a dynamic process that makes the world a better place where more people can come forward and find pride in their roots, even in foreign lands.
The students who opted to participate in this wonderful opportunity were awarded their certificates in assembly.
And like every Suchitran, I am sure they're proud of their new knowledge and will continue to strive for excellence. Unfortunately, that is it for today's episode of TV Suchitra. But don't worry, we will return soon with more of exciting happenings at school. Special thanks to Vamsi, Abhishek, Shrishti and Tamanna for putting in their efforts to present this episode.
Always keeping you up to date at the ever-increasing achievements of the students and school. This is Aditi signing off.
And this is Faizan signing off and wishing you an amazing weekend.
Namaste.